Welcome to Behind the Rant. This is going to be a podcast that we are going off script, no scripts, only personal opinions, bad takes, and probably people that are going to be butthurt after this. I am your host, Yves. I run the YouTube channel Noisy Works, and I have a guest with me. He is my brother from another mother. He also founded Team 7. For the people at home that don't know you, who are you and what is Team 7?
I'm Steve. I run the Helix 4D Solutions YouTube channel. It's a very small channel right now, but over the past, I want to say 5 or 6 months, we've gotten together kind of organically, a group of 7 of us from mainly the Qidi community. We are offering our services initially for free, hopefully for fun and profit later. To companies, mostly fledgling companies, but we're not adverse to getting an established company. Okay, what we try to do is we try to beta test printers, so the consumer doesn't have to. There's a bad trend in the industry right now, in my opinion, where companies like to release printers and peripheral devices.
We are going to get into that in the podcast, so no worries. We are going to cover that one. Team 7, I am a member of it, you're a member of it, and we have 5 more members. And the main goal, to keep it short, is that we want to provide a platform for everyone that wants to say something about something without being blocked by freedom of speech. That isn't a thing in some discourse, unfortunately. You cannot say what you want. In ours, you can. The only rule is that if we need to make a rule for you, you're out. So that's the only rule, really. All right, so the goal today is that we have a platform, so in this case, you and me, to talk about stuff that most of the time I try to avoid in my videos, which is going to be a rant. I try to keep it short if I have a rant, but in this type of setting, I really want to have a rant. So, first topic, and that is already going to be one that is close to my heart, and that is going to be the current state of unbiased reviews and why I think it is important. But first of all, I want to hear your opinion about it. What is your opinion about the reviews these days?
Well, over the past, I guess, 3 years, I've really gotten into YouTube, especially into 3D printing industry. And I'm noticing a lot of content creators, a lot of the more established content creators, they play it close to the chest when they give a review. And you can tell when someone's not being genuine in a review. You can also tell when they're also very lying to you about the product and what they really think about the product.
Yeah.
And I put it into categories, Yves. You know, you've got your 100,000 subscriber category, content creators. Then you've got branch off of maybe 50,000, 20,000, and then you've got the low thousands, 10,000 and under. Okay, those content creators. Well, hey, you just passed 20,000. Okay, so you'll hit 50. We're gonna. Well, I don't know. You'll hit 50 here before next year's over. Okay, that's what we want. We want you to hit 50,000 subscribers. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. We want you to like and subscribe. Okay. And Yves has a Patreon. Okay. So we want to make sure we mention that
on YouTube. Yeah.
That's
same difference, but yeah.
It's a way to show your gratitude, show your appreciation to a content creator. Yeah. And I think segueing off of that, a lot of the content creators who have large Patreons, okay, if you go out there and see one of my favorites, Doc Igor, okay, who runs his channel out there and is in Hungary. He does all the testing, but when you see his Patreon list, it fills up the screen. Yeah. He's got over 100 Patreon members. So he does pretty well. Okay. I also like the way he does his reviews of the material. He's a mechanical engineer instructor at a local college there. You can tell. Doc
Yeah.
Igor is one of those guys who's very genuine. Okay. Um, but there are others in the industry that who have maybe 100,000 subscribers who really, I think they pull back on some of the things some of the opinions
Yeah.
that they've generated and I've seen many of those do 5-10 reviews over the last 2-3 years. You can tell that they're very biased about what they're saying.
And
Now, if they
why do
come
you
up for,
think that is a problem? Because we are now trying to pinpoint what we think. So we think that they are not truly saying what they think. So they are biased, like we say it. But why? Why are these people doing that? That is probably the better question. It's all about
money,
the money.
it's money,
Yeah.
it's
So
money.
that is
Exactly.
one thing I like about Patreon memberships and all of that. It keeps the people that truly care about the hobby. Yeah, they don't really have to rely on how a video performs, because I noticed for
Hmm.
myself that when you have a true hard opinion and people don't like it, and the very first time I really noticed that feeling was with Prusa. Yeah, that was the first time I got a massive shitstorm between the people that were like, yeah, you're right, and people that said, nope, it's all your fault, you're the problem, you don't know what you're talking about. And that has negative consequences for you. On the one hand, you have people that say, yep, you're a good one, great for me. People say that they like the content. On the other hand, that also plays in the cards of other companies, because these companies are also not inclined to work with YouTubers like me. So for instance, if I reach out to a company that is announcing a new printer, chances are that I am not going to be one of them reviewing that product. I think that it could be a couple of different things. My subscriber count is definitely not high enough for some. I understand that they expect a revenue. On the other hand, I also would like to say is that any idiot with a camera can generate 20, 30,000 views on a product if it's just a first day review. You don't have to have a big channel for that. So I would say that's not really a good reason anymore to say from, yeah, we're not going to pick you because you're a small channel. I call bogus on that. So they are
Hmm.
definitely now using that force of using YouTubers that are not truthful, like we said,
Hmm.
all about the money,
Hmm.
because those people are selling printers, and that is highly unfortunate.
Hmm. Well, I think a lot of them kind of lose their integrity rating with me, their credibility rating. Someone told me years ago that it takes decades to build credibility and only seconds to lose it.
Yeah,
Okay. You can build up a good credible rating on YouTube with a lot of followers, a lot of people that may not follow you, but may just kind of casually watch your videos
yeah,
because, okay. And then one day you will cross that line between being a very good, unbiased reviewer and then someone who took a paycheck. Okay.
yeah,
And then all of a sudden, all of the honesty goes away. It goes away, and it's very easy to spot. Okay.
yeah,
And that's one of the things. There's only a few YouTubers that about 3D printing that I really admire because of their honesty. Okay. There's only a few of them out of maybe 100 that I've seen. Okay. uh, Production quality's great. They touch on the bad points, they touch on the good points. They don't they don't make the highs too high, and they don't make the lows too low. They offer honest, genuine criticism,
yeah.
constructive
And
criticism.
that's
And
one of
those are
the
the ones that
real
companies.
that's one of the real gotchas I've found and those people that are biased, is that if they touch a bad point, they immediately turn over and say all the positive things about it. So trying to, yeah, put that small little thing that they don't think is really important and bury it under a bunch of positivity. So those are really, really telltales for me that, yeah, not that great.
Well,
Yeah,
with some of these newer guys and gals out there, I will watch a review and I will see one reviewer give a just almost a 180-degree difference in from that review versus another one. And just today, I was watching a review this morning, and I'm thinking, okay, this guy really didn't touch on anything that this other guy did. Totally avoid the bad points. Totally avoiding the bad points, and then glosses over some of the meagerly negative points. And you can tell if you watch enough YouTube videos, if you watch enough, 3D printing related YouTube videos, and I do in my spare time when I'm not doing anything, I'm watching reviews. I'm
the same.
constantly learning. Constantly learning about the industry, constantly trying to pick up that least little bit of tidbit of knowledge that will help me in my business. Okay, it will help Team 7 in what we're doing, and I'm always trying to learn it. But there's some of the things. There's 10 minutes that I can't get back during a day. There's always a 10-minute video of that time that I will never get back.
Yeah.
It's just,
Absolutely.
and I'm like, okay.
Now,
It's
the weird thing I think about those bad reviews is people are getting burned about it. It is common knowledge. People are getting burned. And I think one topic we can talk about is going to be our Qidi experience. Like you said, we all met each other by using our Qidis. The +4 is going to be the big one that brought us all together. And one thing I noticed on the release, so I got a day 1 release, first time ever, or second time, I think the Q1 was my first one. So second time, day 1 release, so stoked. I watched all those videos, and I already knew there was a big problem with that thing. There were a couple of things that were complete deal breakers for me. And also things that could be spotted by other people, and nobody did. So I knew, yeah, we are off on a bad tangent. Not only that, later development also showed that those problems were getting worse and worse. We got the SSR issue, fire hazards, all that kind of stuff. And the weird thing about those YouTubers is they never go back and they don't tell you what the freaking problem is. And that is the biggest concern I have. It's all rainbows and sunshine, and then there is a shitstorm starting to happen, and then all of them are just completely quiet, and you potentially have a printer at home that is a fire hazard that you recommended to the people at home. You can miss a flaw. I am completely understanding that you can miss some flaws. SSR issue, I would never experience that one because 220 volt gang, yay for me.
Yeah.
But not so great for you guys. But I talked about it. I showed the issue, what you can do about it. But that is not happening with other content creators. And I don't understand why this is continue to happen, that YouTubers and companies are still getting away with shit like that.
Well, a lot of content creators that don't do those things are hoping that they can get another paycheck with this company. If they don't hit that company hard and they're kind of milquetoast about the whole deal, they know that that particular company will go back to them, okay, if they haven't been hit very hard, because public relations is so big now with corporations. Yeah, and back in America, back in the 70s, public relations was mainly relegated to the larger companies, the Fortune 100 companies. I grew up in the 70s and 80s. And I saw these smaller companies become larger companies. I saw the PR departments in those companies get bigger and bigger. Okay. And the same way with these 3D printer companies that are large companies. They have their own PR staff. They know what their audience is. They know who their favorite content creators are, and they go back to those. But now I'm seeing another trend, Yves, I wanted to bring up, is that some of these fledgling companies will go out to some of these fledgling content creators. And some of these companies that are doing a Kickstarter, if they don't have a lot of money and they're trying to get a 3D printer out, they'll come to these content creators who are scrounging for money, who are scrounging to get paid for their effort. And don't get me wrong, okay, a content creator's job is hugely time consuming. Okay,
absolutely.
Just me getting into it. It just boggles my mind how much time is spent in editing, post-production, script writing. and everything. So a lot of these fledgling companies will say, okay, we will give you X amount of dollars, and it's considerably less than what a larger content creator would even think about taking. Okay, case in point, a previous Kickstarter earlier this year, okay, who now is totally off the map. Okay,
Yeah.
went out to some of these fledgling content creators, gave them $200-300, in this printer, and said, give us your review on it. Okay, and some of them did not give it a very favorable review. Okay, and it was totally mismanaged on the part of that company and that PR relations department of that company. So for everybody out there that loves to watch reviews on printers, and you're kind of new to the industry, listen to us. We're here to tell you that there's more to it behind the scenes than what you see in a 15-minute review. There's a lot more. There's a lot of politics that goes on, a lot of emails that go back and emails that go back and forth. There's even some situations where the company won't allow a content creator in the contract to release a video until they've seen it, or they've at least seen the script for that video and can send edits back to it.
Yep.
Okay,
Hey,
so now
is a perfect example of reaching out to
you go
me
ahead there
and asking for 2 to 3 edits of a review. That's all red flags for me. First of all, a review should be unbiased. Like always, everybody has a bias, including me. I have a bias. I love open source, and I'm going to love open source until I die. So the bias is there. But I still have the capability to separate that from the facts and objective look of something. But if companies are starting to say, hey, here's a carrot, you can have it, but this is the list you have to comply to, then we are off to a very slippery slope, in my opinion. And then you can have stuff like, yeah, the first 2 or 3 videos are kind of tamed down because they have to, because of the contract, and the company doesn't really accept all the criticism. And then when the printer is already sold in the thousands, then they come back with a video and say, yeah, these are all the problems. Yeah, by then you're too late. The printers are sold and the people are stuck with the system.
And by that time, guess what happens? The consumer becomes the beta tester.
Yeah, absolutely.
At that point, that's where the line starts drawn, where the consumer becomes the beta tester. And I should say the first adopters become the beta testers. And I think there's a certain percentage of the community now, and I'm sure a lot of people out there will agree with me, that are holding back their money on the initial release of a printer because they know it's going to be released with problems. And that's a bad state of the whole process, and the reviews are part of that process.
Yeah.
So I know this is a significant portion. When I scan through Facebook, Reddit, Discord, and when I scan through all of these public media, social media outlets, I look at the comments. Just look at the comment section. Okay, I'm going to hold off for 6 months until the bugs get worked out.
Yeah.
That's a comment. You could play that comment over and over and over. Okay,
yeah, we had to figure that out the hard way with Qidi, for instance, that never buy a Qidi when it's newly launched. That is a statement that will continue to happen. We have seen it on the box. Do not buy Qidi products from the first batch. It's that easy right now, unfortunately.
And let me be clear. I root for Qidi. Okay, they're the underdog. Okay, you've got the New York Yankees sitting up there. Okay, that have been knocking home runs with the public. Okay, have been hiding what the New York Yankees have been doing behind the scenes. Okay, and then you've got the poor lowly Baltimore Orioles down here, the little team that tries. Yeah. Okay, they do good in regular season, but when they get in the playoffs, they strike out. Yeah. Why? Because they don't have the staff, they don't have the resources to do long-term testing.
And they get hammered by people like me.
Yes, the Orioles are a small market team. They don't have the money to bring in those big free agents. I guarantee you, if Qidi had the research and development money that another company had, okay, and I think we all know who we're talking about here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, you would see a Qidi printer come off the line in at least a 90% completion. At least 90%, because if they had those resources. So right now, this is why I kind of root for them. Okay, they're the underdog. They've been doing heated chamber printing before Bamboo Lab was even a kid.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely, and affordable. So that's what attracted me to Qidi in the first place. They are super affordable, and they offer basically 90% of what people at home want to try out. So perfect
Yeah.
printer in all aspects.
Well, they certainly lead the market, in my opinion, or led the market at one point in heated chamber printing. And see, that was something that your Ender crowd, your Prusa, your MK3S Plus crowd, they couldn't get this. There were guys 4 years ago that were modding, IKEA cabinets and putting them,
the
and
lock
putting the printers in,
cabinets. Yeah.
yeah, so they could simply get ABS to print instead of keeping it warping. So here comes Qidi along, in 2017 with the first consumer heated chamber printer. Okay, now don't quote me on that, because that's that was my first experience with them.
That brings me needless to the next topic I want to talk about, and that is going to be the importance of open source these days. It is dying. Why is it so important to keep open source alive? We could see at first the rumblings about the Algo CC. Did a video about it. It's sitting there in the shelving. The Algo CC, great product in my opinion. Dirt cheap. You can print basically everything on it without a chamber heater. Now, they got caught with their pants down, to say it like I did in the video, and I had the suspicion that they were using Clipper, and it came out that they did use Clipper. Not only that, they are working with a brand that also provides parts for Anycubic printers, so Anycubic, I believe it is.
Yeah.
So Anycubic, Algo, and there is a third company I forgot the name about. They all use the same mainboards, and they are all using the same forks of Clipper. It's super old. Let's get that out of the way. It is so old, it is irrelevant by now. But still, they are using open source code. They were hiding it actively, and even stating in the beginning that, no, we are not using open source. This is closed source firmware, until people had hard evidence that they didn't. And by now, they finally admitted that stuff, and even did a GitHub repository with all the stuff. It's partial, still partial, but most of it is in there. So that is the part that I still am very hopeful for, that we still have a very hardcore of open source believers, but I really feel like it's starting to die off. Why is that?
Well, that it's starting to die off. Okay, and here's why. But before I get onto that, I want to go back to your original statement. Okay, it goes back to the public relations departments in those particular companies. Okay, if they don't get word from management, upper level management, they are going to do damage control as much as they can. Okay, these PR people, that's damage control. You know what? If I gave Elegoo some credit here, it would be my guess that the public relations department didn't know about the Clipper situation. Only the engineers and the mid-level managers knew about the Clipper situation, and the public relations department has immediately got to put out a press release or some kind of social media post that, oh, we're not doing this, okay?
Yeah.
Because that's where one hand's trying to hold on to the other one, okay? Yeah. And it doesn't work. And what it does is it creates what you call the shitstorm, okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
And when you talk about open source, okay, the whole community owes every bit of their enjoyment in this hobby, in this somewhat industry now, okay, to the people that developed open source, to the people that developed Marlin and Clipper, Mainsail, all of these wonderful things, and they give it to the community. And see, real quick, when I first started back into printing, I've been printing since the early 2000s on SLS machines in industry, and I took a hiatus. I came back about 5 or 6 years ago, okay, and I saw a wonderful group of people that all stood up for each other, that all helped each other. And I was new to this thing again because it was a wholly different product. Okay, you had the bed slingers that were becoming popular. The Ender 3 crowd was modding everything because why? The Ender 3s were open source. Okay. Yeah. And Prusa started out. Joseph Prusa started out that way.
Completely.
Okay. And
design and everything open sourced. And that is also something that they are stepping away from. They give you a bunch of STLs, so the printed parts that could wear out are still available on the Core 1, but basically all the rest except for the firmware is completely in their own hands. So you are shit out of luck, like I would call it.
Now, okay, let's talk about that for a moment. Why, Yves, what do you think is the reason behind a company trying to close off the software and the firmware development of their products? Why do you think that is?
Yeah, so why I think they are closing down. And I think we actually have the answer because one company in particular was testing the water, and it is going to be Bamboo. Bamboo is going to be one of the biggest infringements of open source to date, I think, from design to even software. They claim it's not, it is. I don't even trust them anymore on anything that they say, but they started closing down. I think it was early this year, around New Year. They had their own shitstorm about closing down a bunch of the open access you had with things like the screen from Big Tree Tech. They were closing down some loops, and you basically cannot do anything anymore except for that. And my opinion is that they were trying that just to feel the temperature, let's say it, the temperature of the group, in an attempt to close down even further than that. That was step one in their plan. That brought so much pushback that probably all the rest they were aiming for that would now be on the H2D didn't make it. I am very sure that if Bamboo had smooth sailing from that little shitstorm, that we now would have software that would have paid features that nobody else could use except for the people that had money for it. And that is why open source is so important. So I'm really sure Bamboo tested out the waters and they failed. Fortunately.
Well, I think one of the reasons why open source is dying is because we used to be a real tight-knit community. We used to be a very focused market share in the industry. Okay, 3D printers was still a fledgling kind of industry. You had mostly the professional industry out there, the Mark IVs, the Stratasys. Yes. You had if you owned a 3D printer, you had to afford $100,000 machine.
Yeah, okay, back then it was crazy.
And so when the technology started to scale down, you started to see a very focused market share. Okay. Now, what Bamboo Lab has done, okay, is they've created the printer, and I'm going to get a lot of heat for this. They've created the printer for the dumb user. Okay.
I would completely agree with that statement.
I know it sounds rough, but there's probably a softer, gentler way that I could say that. Maybe Aaron could say it a lot better than I could, but I look at Bamboo Lab, and many people do, as the Apple, okay, yeah, of the 3D printer industry. All the consumer wants is something that works. They don't care how it works. They don't care what they can do with it. They just want to live within their own little box of features. Okay. And if you look at the phone industry, how many features over the last 4 or 5 years have really advanced the phone industry? There's not many. I mean, there comes a point where the technology starts to level out, okay, and then there should be a point where it starts to climb again. But that second climb is not going to be as rapid as the first one. Okay, we saw a rapid climb because Bamboo Lab decided we're going to use the open source all their efforts. We're going to use all of their efforts, and we're going to plug it into a printer that nobody will want to mod. And if they do want to mod it, they're going to have to come back to us, okay? And we're going to give them a limited warranty, Okay, but we're going to try our best to give them great support. Okay, so where are the majority of the printers sold in the world for Bamboo Lab? Right here in America. It's 12 hours difference. Okay, so they knew that the customer service, the response, and a lot of these people will say, customer support wasn't all that great with Bamboo Lab, and then there was others that say, oh, they were very responsive. Well, it goes right back to what we're talking about with open source. Bamboo Lab closed everything in, and they used the community's effort and they used the freebies in the community, okay, and built the back off of the community. And not once have I seen that Bamboo Lab president come out and thank the community, the open source community, and say, we are eternally grateful for what you've done. I have not seen one thing. If somebody in the comment section would like to link me to a statement that he said, okay, where he's being grateful to the community, please, by all means, please mark it down in the comments. I will be watching the comment section for the next month.
Yeah.
Okay.
And even companies like right over there, Soval, has gotten so much shit for basically mainstreaming building Vorons. So this is a super easy way to build a Voron, and they are even donating money to the Voron team, and they are still getting shit for it, for using open source. While in my opinion, there are no red flags. They are even contributing to what a Voron team is. All right, it's not a lot of money, I get it, but they are at least doing something. Like, what the hell? And then Bamboo comes over and you just bend over, pull your pants down, and you take it. I don't get it. I really don't get it.
Well, okay, let's go back to let's go back to where open source is going. Okay. I don't think open source is dying. I refuse to acknowledge that open source is dying, because there's always going to be that section of the community, that those modders, those tinkerers out there, those more knowledgeable users, thank you, yes, yes, thank you, okay, that are actually going to want to buy printers. Those are the people that go to the shows. Those are the people that put on the exhibits. Those are the people that put in their hard work and spend their hard-earned money, okay, to creating something for a community. So I think there will always be somebody there. Okay, it's just that the market share for the open source community has started to shrink. And if we don't take back some of that market share from those chunks, from those side chunks, away from Bamboo Lab, away from Elegoo, Creality too starting to do it, okay? And Qidi's come back and said that they're going to re-upload the files to GitHub in November, okay?
All right, that's new info for me.
Yes, that's
are we talking about the newly released Q2, or are we talking about the box firmware?
The Qidi box firmware. The Qidi box firmware.
Right. So that's
okay. Now,
great news.
Yeah, it's to me, I'll believe it when I see it.
Yeah,
kind of
absolutely.
deal. Okay.
Absolutely.
I believe it. I believe it when I see it. But when the gesture's made, okay, the gesture also needs to be made to back up the Q2. Okay.
And still have no firmware for the Q2, I presume.
I'm not familiar with the Q2. JLo and Arco.
I think not. I think they were waiting for all the bugs to be out before they want to release it, which is, in my opinion, a shit excuse. Sorry, my French, but nope, I'm not buying that.
I want to see, instead of just half of the people getting a good initial experience, I'd like to see at least 90% of those people that are first adopters get a better experience. Now, there's always going to be the outlier. If you put out 10,000 printers in 1 month, okay, out on an assembly line, you count on at least 10% QC failures. Somewhere along the line, somebody's going to mess up, because a lot of those people are overworked. They work 6 days a week, and I really admire that. Okay, but the fact of the matter is, the open source community has relied on the people that do the work. That they do that work every single day.
And a big example in Qidi's case is going to be Stu, which is also a member of our Team 7.
Yes.
That man has single-handedly fixed the Qidi Plus 4, in my opinion. I had a small little piece of it, but Stu is going to be the godfather of Qidi, And I think, in my opinion, he didn't get the respect from Qidi for the work that he did, especially when it comes to the box release that they did. Nah, I'm not. No, I'm very, very angry because of that.
Well, I think eventually it will come around, and I think because what's going to happen is they're going to lose money. And companies really, management especially, they don't start turning around until they get to the very edge of the cliff, and they see that they're about to fall off the cliff, and they see all that money draining out of the pockets. Okay, and we could talk about tariffs too. That's about to hit. Okay, tariffs are going to hurt a lot of these companies, and that's why you see a lot of these companies emptying out the warehouses. So I think a lot of these companies, and it's off the wall comment, I think a lot of these companies that are open source, okay, they're going to get hit the hardest, okay, because that their margins are lower. Okay, when you're an open source,
margins are lower, but also all the parts that you would source for open source are mostly sold in China.
Good point. Good point. Yeah, right. And those parts
That's
are
the
going to get
problem.
tariffed too.
We don't have Western manufacturing when it comes to stepper motors, heated beds, and all of
Right.
that. That's a massive problem.
And circuit boards. And
Yeah.
PCBs are
We
PCBs are
basically
mostly
lost
made in.
everything in the last 15 years, I would guess.
Oh, it's I can tell you right now, the manufacturing in America with printed circuit boards is relegated to high end, really high dollar.
Yeah.
A lot of it's defense contracting, and industry to industry, company to company, making circuit boards. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't think open source is. I don't think open source will die, Yves. I think.
Yeah.
I think it's going to. I think it's going to shrink down to a point where, it'll be less than 10% of the market share. Okay.
Oh yeah, absolutely. As long as we keep getting brands that are pushing appliance level of printers, which is a good thing in my opinion. We do want the appliance type of experience. I think that the days of eternally tinkering on your printer are done, unless it is for mods like what I'm doing right here with the Rhetoric. It is all for doing the mods. But back in the Ender days, the Batslinger days, you had to work on them because they were so high tier garbage that they just broke down every time you looked at it.
I know. When I first got back into printing, the Enders, I think the Enders had just reached their peak of being moddable. Okay. And that's another thing about I want to say about this machine, an open source machine. When we got this machine, I donated some time to the research and development, of modding this thing. And I've got to tell you, this little +4 right here, it's one of the most moddable Core XY printers on the market right now.
With open source, I think it's also very important that we stipulate that open source with Qidi and most other companies that we are going to talk about today are unfortunately only on a firmware or software level. So Qidi was so kind to send over a few files, very selected few files to a couple of people likes to, but most companies these days only have open source and it is going to be in the firmware. So in this case, we are working with Clipper, which makes everything a lot nicer for people that want to mod. So open source, yay, we can do something. And Stu did a few of those mods, like the beacon install. That was a very nice mod and highly needed on the Qidi +4 if you are doing high temp and all of that. And not only that, there are a bunch of other things that, thanks to Clipper, we can do ourselves.
Is it safe to say that if the open source community is going away, it'll be from the hardware side? If Clipper remains Clipper, okay, and I know there's a lot of crossover between the Clipper firmware modding and the hardware, but there's a lot of hardware out there that had been modded for these printers for the last 2 or 3 years. I mean, even the X1 Carbon had a lot of mods to it at the time. But when they started closing everything down, okay, and then they started advancing that for the P series, for the little A series, okay. But modding a printer like this, okay, and hardware, I think in maybe 3 years may be dead.
Yeah.
When you say you get back to the appliance level printers, okay, I don't ever think of a printer as an appliance. I don't think I ever will, because my printer is nothing like my refrigerator. My
True.
printer is nothing
Yeah.
like my dishwasher or my
I'm going to
washing
give you
machine.
that one, but I'm going to raise you until you tried your own CNC machine, and then you are going to figure out that yes, 3D printing is very close to a very one push button appliance type of
Oh, oh,
experience.
oh yeah. Oh yeah, there's so many moving parts in a 3D printer, though. It's very
True,
close,
true.
and that's what Bamboo. I think there's going to be a point of diminishing returns, Eve, when you have to introduce features into a printer, engineer features into a printer to make it an appliance. That increases the possibility and level for that printer to break down.
Yeah.
And then I think you're going to reach a point of hardware-wise, you're going to reach a point of diminishing returns where it all levels off. And then we're getting back to the race to the bottom. Okay.
Yeah.
Are we headed to the race to the bottom with this thing? Okay. The Centauri Carbon. Okay. That $300 printer, it's a throwaway printer after a year.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. It's a throwaway
It's
printer. It is not worth your time to do any major component swaps on it. Even if you are going to be on an hourly wage, as soon as you spend more than 2 hours on that machine, you are starting to look at the budget of just change it out. It's going to be way easier.
right. It's now the Centauri Carbon is going to be the Amazon toaster.
Yeah,
Okay, of the
the
3D
Amazon
printer
basics
industry.
of 3D printing.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, I think
Yeah.
as long as we have Clipper, it will keep open source alive, fortunately, for people that really want to. But I do think that because they are moving away from open source, some companies will start to feel the, how do I say it? If I stop doing mods for printers because I don't have access to them, it's going to be very easy. That is a shitty printer. It's not. That is a shitty printer. So I just don't use it and I will not recommend it to you. It's going to be that easy, and some companies will have to step up the game or they will be out of business in a couple of years because people like you and me don't have the access to fix it ourselves.
Right. And the kids and all the kids around the globe, all the kids across the globe that are going to get a Centauri Carbon for Christmas. Okay, because that's what LEU's really pushing right now. They wanted to release it early enough to get all the bugs and get all the community to fix everything that was wrong with it, so that it becomes more of an appliance printer come this Christmas. Okay, but bam, tariffs. Okay,
Yeah,
tariffs is
that's
going
going
to
to
tariffs
be
is going
a
to
sourpuss for sure.
exactly, tariffs going to hit things. So yeah, once those kids have those printers, the kids that do have the printers, they'll use them for about a year. Okay, maybe 10% of those kids will go on to want to do something in engineering, printing, technical, undertake a technical career. The middle school kids, the high school kids, but the vast majority of them are going to throw the thing away and go, okay, this thing doesn't work anymore, Mom. Well,
Yeah,
just throw it away, honey. Just throw it
yeah,
away here, or give it.
absolutely.
We'll just donate it to the high school, okay?
Yeah,
We'll just donate it to the high school, and we'll let those kids fool with it, okay?
yep,
So
absolutely.
$300. That's what
Uh,
the race to the bottom is all about.
yeah, we touched about
That's
it a few times, and it is going to be the current state of 3D printing. Are we really having a race to the bottom? Is it enough? Do we see enough right now? And maybe I will take the lead on that. I think we are past the race to the bottom. We have definitely seen 2 years of stagnation with Bamboo, people trying to catch up. We are there now. Most of the companies have catched up to Bamboo. We had seen also a very hard stagnation, in my opinion, but, and that is going to be our next subject, and that is going to be the tool changer race that has begun in full swing. I guess 2026 is going to be an awesome year for 3D printing, and the good thing is every company except for Bamboo is using Clipper.
yes. Well,
Yeah,
actually, Bamboo uses Linux.
yeah,
Okay, they're Linux. They're still Linux based. Okay, so even when they're Linux based, they will still have subroutines and you can bet your bottom dollar they will have lines of code in there that look a lot like Clipper. Okay.
Yeah, they say it's not really, right?
Right.
Now, what I want to
Right.
say is that these companies will run a version of Clipper that is going to be accessible to people like us. So, to name a few, we have the Snapmaker U1. That printer sold stupid amount of money. We also have, and that is going to be the biggest interest of me, we have Index from Bantech. That is going to be just the most sweet setup in my opinion, because it plugs into every open source printer existing. So this one right over here, the Rhetoric, the Sovel SV01, the Prusa Core one, which is technically open source, but Prusa, for reasons that we could talk about, jumped on that bandwagon because, yeah, the Core one, yeah, they were a little bit too late with that one, but yeah. So Index is ready to just dominate the 3D printing space, in my opinion, especially if it runs any sort of Clipper, because apparently, if we have to believe Bantech, it is just a few macros and you are off to the races.
Oh gosh, I know. When I first saw it as an engineer, I'm looking at, gosh, they finally did induction heating for a hot end.
Yep. I saw the video and I
Finally,
said the same thing. We have induction, baby.
yes, somebody finally did it, and they're doing it in a very, very efficient way. Okay, the heat loss, the ratio of power
Minimal
mass
material.
loss. Oh, that's right. The mass, the heat, the mass index, everything. It's just sliding into place for them.
Apparently, they did delay the index system, and that is because they are probably doing some more tweaks. I truly believe that they have been having feedback for the last 8 months or so since it got teased. I got invited to visit them, and I believe it's Sweden that they are, but I had to pay for my own expenses. I didn't have the time or the money to visit them. Not that I think I missed a lot, but yes, they were interested in me covering. So I hope we can reach some agreements that I will be among those day one Index users. I definitely have the printers for it.
News.
Yeah, and the delay, I guess, is going to be because they are doing some final upgrades. I have heard that they are changing the body to be slimmer because it is quite bulky right now. And also something about being able to get it hotter, because in theory, the nozzle could reach 350 and even more, but the silicone sock and the way they do it now will prevent it from going any much higher than 300 degrees Celsius, because we know that silicone socks do not handle well over 300 degrees.
Well, silicone socks, outgas ethylene oxide. I think it's ethylene. Yeah, and so the LE Archie printer was guilty of that. Okay. Is it methylene oxide? It's very volatile. I mean, it's a carcinogen. Okay, so you couldn't sell it in California, that's for sure.
Yeah,
okay.
Probably. So I guess they are doing something. Maybe they are going fiberglass on the nozzle, because I have a mod planned for the Rhetoric, and it is going to be a titanium kind of a shroud that you can put some fiberglass in it, and that will keep the wind or the ambient away from the hot end, and you can still hit 500 degrees, no problem. So if I have to do a guess, they are probably starting to look into some kind of a molding with fiberglass. It's pure speculation, I don't know.
Well, see, they probably, here's another more speculation. Okay, and people can comment down in the comment section below. Okay, more speculation, but it would make sense that 2 or 3 major companies, okay, said, we have divisions here, here, and here. We want index in our labs. We want index in our companies. Okay, but we need index, okay, to be heated chamber. We need to hit peak, PEC, and ultim. Okay, we need this thing to work. And if we can do this, we can combine hotter materials with other hotter materials. We can combine carbon fiber materials with glass fiber materials, which will, some of the things I'm doing in my research. And that's speculation, but that would provide the impetus that they would actually say, okay, we're going to delay this knowing that everybody else, that ProForge, the Wonder Maker, okay, all those other printers, I don't want to say it. I know there's a lot of SnapMaker folks out there that love their printers. I don't print toys.
Yeah,
Okay.
me neither.
Personally
I do it
speaking,
for
I
the
got to speak for
videos, but I don't have joy about it.
yes. I got to speak for myself here. Okay. I'm somebody in industry. Okay. I'm doing research. Okay. I need a certain type of printer. Okay. And I'm thinking all these other market shares out here that crossover from the light industrial market, from the prosumer to the light industrial market to the mid range, and then for the higher level folks are all looking at index and going, we want this thing to work with what we've got. We
Yeah,
can save
absolutely.
hundreds of thousands of dollars, okay,
Yeah,
by implementing this. And you
yeah, and
can
the
bet your bottom
pricing
dollar,
is madness.
oh,
The
it's
pricing
crazy,
is madness.
250.
$250, and then for every nozzle, $75. That is basically cheap for nothing. That's crazy.
Exactly. But see, that's why I think sets index apart from the rest of them. Okay, and then you've got the SnapMaker U1 is great for a large majority of the folks
Yeah,
out there. They print their dragons, they print all of their toys and everything. And I was a hobbyist once too. I've printed those things. Okay, and I still got those things, but that's a huge market share for those folks.
yeah.
How long will the SnapMaker craze last, Eve? How long will the the ProForge and the Wonder Maker and the Atom Forge last? Okay, these are
I'm pretty
small.
sure that it will last until people are going to, or companies are going to start including index just standard. Like, to give an example, every new Prusa Core 1 will ship with index, and they will just ditch the next extruder. That will be
Yeah,
one printer company, I think, that is going to do that, and then it's just going to snowball to the rest that says, you know what, we don't care about designing a hot end, it worked great, let's just do that.
yeah. Right. Well, one of the first things that I did, and I'll tell everybody this in the audience, is as soon as I saw index, I sent a email into Qidi. I said, "You folks need to team up with these guys.
Yeah,
Immediately, you need to team up, stop whatever you're doing in R&D, throw it out the window, and
X-Max
team up with
4.
these guys." Yes, the X-Max 4.
Yeah,
I immediately sent that email over to them, and
yeah.
they said that what I was told was that it was forwarded on to management, and thank you for your suggestion.
I can already
Basically,
tell you what you're going to do with that. Jack shit. Now we also have a few other companies. So we have the ProForge 5, which is from Maker World, I believe. And we also have the Wonder Maker ZR Ultra 4, which is also a very budget oriented. The ProForge 5 is a lot more expensive. They are also using a lot heavier tool head. It is also a little bit more designed, I think, towards the engineering world. But we do have competition going on for next year, and I don't think it's going to stop with that. Also, Bamboo did a very ditch effort on doing something toolchanger, and I think, in my opinion, they completely failed at it because a nozzle changer is as pointless as a poop chute, in my opinion.
Okay, I'm going to really rant here. And when you look at the complexity of their whole system,
Yeah, it's
it looks
crazy.
like something. It looks like a clockwork. Okay, it
Yeah,
looks like a little tinker. Looks like a tinker gnome went crazy and had a bunch of babies. Okay,
yeah.
it's got so much.
Steppers
It's
and
got so much
chains,
movement.
and yeah.
Yes. I don't know if they were trying to avoid patent infringement or what.
I think they
Okay.
got lazy. I think they thought that they
Yeah.
had
Yeah.
a year to go before the craze would start, and they missed the train. That's what I think.
Yeah. They were the Kansas City Chiefs. They got one too many Super Bowls.
Yep. Yeah. They missed the train, and you can see it on the renders. I think they have one prototype of them that is half functional, I would guess. But yeah, they really pushed hard when Index started to get some wind, and when Prusa started showing off, and also Rhetoric confirmed it. Soval is going to sell like hotcakes. The SVO8 is going to sell like hotcakes just for the
Yeah.
multicolor shit. and they are late to the train. And I think that is going to be one of the worst implementations of any type of switching, because why would you switch out the nozzle if you have to completely purge it and you still have a poop going on?
Yeah, they must
they
have been trying to avoid patents, right? They must have been trying to avoid. Now, Yves, there's another company here that you just touched on. This Wonder Maker ZR Ultra. Okay, they're a large format printer. They're 300 by 300 cube.
Yeah, I'm not sure about the size, but they were bigger than SnapMaker U1. And the Kickstarter is done, I believe, and they met the quotes. So
yeah. Well, I saw a review on it just recently. It was kind of a poor review. It wasn't really in depth as what I'd like to see, but they feed they feed all four into the hot end, into the whole print head. Yeah. Okay, so they do it a little bit differently. Okay, so everybody, all these engineering R&D departments are trying to figure out how can we switch colors, okay, without wasting a lot of filament. Okay, and SnapMaker's going to win the race here for money, but I think for reliability, for expandability. Okay, because the SnapMaker's not going, from what I understand, and I could be wrong, somebody correct me in the comment section, but SnapMaker's not going to be very moddable. Okay, that's the impression that I get.
They have clippers, so you can do some mods, but you are very locked in. It's a bit like the Qidi. It's going to get as far as you really want it to. But is it going to be financially make sense? Probably not.
Right. Well, the hardware situation, I think you're going to be pretty much locked in with the hardware situation, unless you're really crafty, okay, and you want to make a kit printer out of it.
Yeah, but I could see it from Taylor from YGK 3D's video. They are using a bunch of daughter boards, and that is just going to complexify the hell out of the printer, making it almost impossible to make changes to them.
Well, when you say daughter boards, let's go back to my original point. Okay, one of my original points was, from an engineering standpoint, I've got to add so many things to a printer. Okay, I've got to add so many features to a car to make it drive itself. I've got to add so many features to a printer to make it more of an appliance. And I think that's a good example. The SnapMaker, all the daughter boards, once again, you're using all that electronics to monitor what's going on in the printer. Okay, so the clipper, they must be doing a really good job of managing that clipper hardware interface. Okay, so now with the H2D, doing the same thing with all these different sensors in a printer that's going to have so much dross from the laser, it's going to muddy that water. So yeah, it goes back to my original statement. All those daughter boards, from an engineering standpoint, more complexity for the user experience to be easy, makes it tougher for somebody to go in there and fix the thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
To me, that's where I call the hardware lock. You got the firmware lock, and you've got the hardware lock, and I think that's where that comes in. But I'm kind of intrigued about the Wonder Maker. I don't know a whole lot about it. I've got to see it in passing, but it's a larger format printer. I like to see somebody do that. I like to see somebody do a larger format. I think because print farmers like myself, who own maybe 10 printers, 10 to 20 to 30 printers out there, are going to want a larger format printer, because they don't want a Q1 taking up all that space with just a 256 build plate. You know?
Indeed, and that's why I think companies like Vorant still have a place to exist. I am the perfect living example. I am starting my own company, and I bought 5 of them. And the reason is just because I can do whatever the fuck I want with them. So I'm probably going to do 4 box standard ones with some upgrades I wanted to. And then I have going to be having a 5th one that is going to sit in that corner. And that one is going to be bonkers. I'm just going to make the most insane adjustments I can, just like this boy right over here. Just because that is the part of the hobby I love the most. And that is what keeps me fired up. Because, I can't lie. What we have seen the last 2 years is really bogging me down, and it's not fun for somebody like us that likes to tinker on a printer to see the changes that we see right now. Even the box standard Amazon Basic Algo Centauri Carbon has 2 or 3 data boards from what I could see, which already makes it nearly impossible to mod it.
Does right now. Qidi, on to their credit, they've limited the number of daughter boards, and I call them pass-through boards. Okay, and they've limited that, but they've also kind of done some other things that limited themselves in that way. But to touch on what you're saying from a print farmer standpoint, Yves, when you join in this print farmers business, you're going to mod these printers. And I'm going to give you a little piece of advice here. You're gonna mod these printers so much that they are going to make it so tough for you to maintain a production schedule and overlap. The challenge you're going to have is overlapping every bit of the prints that you're going to have. How am I going to find time in the day to change this bill plate here? You're going to give so much thought to making your production line so efficient because you've modded the out of these printers. Okay. And I envy that. That's a great problem to have. Okay. Cause you're going to find it. You're going to look back and go, Steve was right, man.
Yep.
Sweetheart,
Probably.
Sweetheart, I gotta stay home for another 2 hours here. We can't go out tonight. What do you mean we can't go out? I've got to change these over. I can make another 300 euros here. I got to change these over.
Now, to be fair, the 4 that are going in the corner are all going to be the same.
Okay.
So I defined the lines which I want to work with. Those are going to be the lines, and the lines are very clear for me. And the parts are very easy to get my hands on. So if something breaks down, it is just a matter of keeping spare parts. So I'm hopeful that if I get them all 4 running in a capacity that is good enough for me, that if one drops out, it doesn't really matter. I have 3 more sitting that can do the work.
Well, see, I know I'm kind of going off topic here a little bit, but when I first started my Qidi journey into this little print farm, my print farm kind of grew from just a couple of 3 MKS pluses and a resin printer, and all the orders started coming in, and and I immediately had to start juggling the account. So I came out and started, I need something big. I went to the X Max 3. Okay. I started printing lots and lots of parts with the X Max 3. In 1 month, I must have printed 2,000 parts. Okay. We're talking running.
Sounds like music in my ears.
We're talking 24/7. We're talking 24/7. And then I thought, okay, now if I could offload some of this and get 2 printers that were like that, that could make as much for a little bit more than the X Max 3, and now I'll come to the Q1 Pro. Okay. So I got 2 Q1 Pros. Okay. And so far they've got about 1,500 hours on them each. Combined, I want to say 3,200 hours for both of these 2 little guys over here. Larry and Curly have been the workhorse of my whole thing. And that 256 build with a heated chamber, I can do ABS all freaking day. Okay.
Yeah, baby.
I could shovel ABS and ASA all, and the people in my industry love it because they got a strong print. Okay. Well, here comes the plus 4. What are we going to do with some more exotic stuff? But it's got a little bit bigger build plate. So what they did was they went from the X Max 3 down to the Q1 Pro up to the plus 4. Now where am I going with all this? It enabled me to have 3 different types of machines to manage a small production line for 1 month or a large production line quantity for 1 month. So I can go from low quantity, low heat consumption, low power consumption to get everybody going in a big symphony. And we're cranking out 1,400 watts, pulling 1,400 watts, and that KU disc, that Kentucky Utilities disc is spinning. Okay, while I'm doing this. Okay, while I'm taking a check to the bank.
That's what I'm hoping to get with my 4 Vorons.
And I hope the people in the comment section that are print farmers can relate to that, because I want to hear from you guys. I want to hear from all you print farmers out there. What's your best success story? I want to know what your best success story is. And I will be watching for the next month for this video, because I love hearing from you guys. We also have real quick announcement. Okay. Not only do we have a print farmers server on the Team 7 Discord, okay, but I managed to convince the Qidi moderator over on the Qidi Discord to put a server up for print farmers as well. I think there's a lot of Qidi print farmers out there. So if you're a member of the Qidi Discord and you are a print farmer, hey, let's talk. Okay. If you want to be a member of the Team 7 Discord, hey, send me an email. Contact me through my channel, and I'll be glad to send you an invite. We attract some of the best.
The link will be down below, guys. If you want to join,
Wonderful.
just click that link. And that takes me to the next part. Let's have a Qidi rant. So, we started a little bit confused on the Qidi Plus 4, in my opinion. It was a great product. It had all the things that we could ever wish for when it came out. Right now, we can already call it a little bit dated just because of the rapid iterations we have seen the last year. They showed a lot of good commitment, in my opinion. In the beginning, with the SSR issue, it was a little bit too slow for my taste, but they did
3 iterations, my friend. They did three separate iterations of that SSR board before they got it right. Okay.
Without clear communication, in my opinion.
Right.
Then we arrived to the box of hell. I swear I'm going to just for fun and giggles throw it out of the door and burn it. It is that bad. And the way they handled that was so disgraceful to me and the people in the open source community that I'm so disgusted that I don't even want to work with Qidi in the future unless they address it and show any signs of gratitude to what happened and just show the people that they care. Because right now, I still don't have the feeling that they cared enough what happened with the box. Because I purchased that box. It was not sponsored. They were planning to send me one together with the Q2, and because I opened my big mouth and said that this product is a piece of shit, they said to me, "We are done with you."
We're done with you.
So call me salty. I am not salty because the relationship ended. By the way, I also have a big announcement. I am no longer receiving free products from here on now. Everything I will be reviewing will be out of pocket. And if I'm buying it, I will, of course, ask if they maybe might entertain the idea of giving me a little discount on it. I will not be opposed to that, but I will put my own hard-earned money in it. And
that's wonderful.
If they are not willing to do that, I have 3D Jake 10% discount code also down below in the links below. I am not sponsored to say that. I don't get a kickback for that. I don't earn jack shit on that code. 3D Jake,
so there's no affiliate. So there's
nope.
So there's affiliates. So Keo Prince, listen to what we're saying. There's no affiliate links in the bottom there in the description. No affiliate links. You gotta know when you've got affiliate links out there, you've got to tell your people. Okay, we like this guy, Keo Prince, but he's got to tell these people. It's just like that. But I'm going to get back on the Qidi thing.
Yeah,
because
Qidi thing.
I'm going to give you some counterpoints.
And I need to drink a little bit, so go ahead. I'm still salty.
I'll drink to that. Okay.
All right. Give me your take.
My take is this. I view Qidi as the teenager, okay, that goes out, drinks and drives, okay, gets in trouble with their parents, okay, and their parents bail them out. I view Qidi as the Dallas Cowboys of the 3D printer industry. Why? And some of you people in America, you people in Europe, you may not know, some of you may. They do great in a regular season, but when they get in the playoffs, they choke. They choke hard, okay? I still root for them, okay? Because I can relate to that because I've seen that before. these folks at Qidi are so understaffed. Okay, they're really understaffed. They've really condensed everything down.
Now, I'm going to
Okay.
stop you right there, Steve. That is not an excuse. If they are understaffed, they need to fucking hire more people. It's that simple,
No,
in my opinion.
When your margins are less than 35%, which they
I don't
are,
care. Ask $100
you can't.
more on your printers. We did the poll, Steve. We did the poll.
Well,
And we said
we can do
that
that. We can do that.
everybody agreed, unanimously, or what you call it, agreed that they would like to pay $100 more if that meant that they had a better product in the end.
Yes, and there's a vast minority of us that would do that. There's a out there, Eve, there's a vast minority. People, no, because we are the more knowledgeable user. We are the tinkerer. What Qidi's doing right now is Qidi is trying to get that. They're trying to get that appliance market back from bamboo, back from Creality. They're trying to take little bitty chunks, and they're that little bitty anemone, or that little bitty clownfish anemone.
In my opinion, they are still playing the race to the bottom game, and they need to stop it.
Well, that's well, we agree on that point, because that's what they're doing. They're trying to pull in all that market by value engineering the printer. Okay, yeah. There's a lot of things that they cut corners on. Okay, that detract from the user experience. Okay, people that know Qidi, people that have been with Qidi, can expect that. People that know that Qidi, they know that they're going to wait 3 months. We could go back to that original point. They know they can wait 3 months and the bugs will be worked out. Okay. What happened with the box, okay, was, in my opinion, and somebody, once again, correct me in the comment section, having a low number of staff out there. Having a small staff, there's only so many hours in the day. There's only so many things that you can do. If you don't have the money, if you don't have the backing of the Chinese Communist Party, okay, if you don't have their money, which Bamboo it does, okay, let's just face it, folks. You fanboys out there. Yes, okay. You know, if you don't have that backing, what can you do? Okay. Now, to be a detractor here, because I've been the biggest cheerleader and been the biggest detractor of Qidi that you know of. Okay, I'm not trying to be two-faced here. I'm just trying to look at both sides of the coin. All right, to Qidi's management, they've made some bad decisions. They've took the company in a way down the road that we were screaming for them not to. Because we were rooting for them. You got to, you know, there's so many great ideas in your printer. You've got so many things that you can do from an engineering standpoint. You touched into the prosumer market, okay, but you've devalued all these little things to the printer. You made it so that it was only good for a year if it got 1,500 hours on it. Okay, you made it so that only the real tinkerer could understand how to improve it, how to make these improvements, like Stu and Aaron and Val and Madame Vega and all these folks that were Qidi lovers, and because we knew what we were getting, we knew exactly. Now the average consumer, they don't know what they're getting. Okay, yeah. I'm seeing so many bad comments on Facebook right now. Okay, on Reddit, there's people are very unhappy with those things. You know, and they've got to change. They've got to change that. Yeah, the Q2 had, in my opinion, the Q2 had a little more going for it and a little less problems, major problems than the Plus 4. Okay, because we have to agree on that. All right.
Yeah, absolutely.
And even though I don't own a Q2, I know somebody close to us that does. Okay, and I value her opinion. Okay. Yeah. So, you know, I don't want to write them off, because I like them. I like the folks there. I've had a lot of good conversations with them. I've talked to them on their Saturday. They work 6 days a week. Okay. So I know they mean well, and I'm rooting for those folks there, but they've got to rein in their market focus and get back to their roots. Okay. Get away from these peripheral things. Okay. Go back to the prosumer market that you really developed. Go back to making an IDEX printer. Okay, make an affordable IDEX. Make the X-Max 4 the affordable IDEX that little sprint farmers wanted.
And I would like to add to that, what you're saying is use your community that really wants to help you, because we have seen a highly lacking amount of beta testing. I would say none in the last few years.
Yes.
And they really need to use a team that tests their machines to the ground. And we have been openly inviting them to do so with Team 7 because we are tightly integrated and we have used them before. And they have neglected to do that even until today. So we don't see any moves that way. And that is what I want to see before I can say, all right, Qidi, I will give you a second chance, because right now I don't see it.
Well, I think what might happen is we may be getting a chance here pretty soon with a competing company. Okay.
Yeah, we are going to talk about that.
Qidi may just go, well, somebody else is looking at them. Maybe we should have done something. I'm not saying I'm not going to cut the cord here, Yves. I'm not going to cut the cord here. I think we could still have a great relationship with Qidi, because I want them to succeed, and they have a place in the market if they would just stay in that place. Okay, and they can maintain that market. But there's another company out here called fibreseek, who kind of evolved from a Nisaport, which was an industrial printer maker, specializing in continuous carbon fiber printing. It looks like Ryan, the CEO there, has been able to scale down in about 18 months an industrial 3D printer, much like the Markforged 1 and 2, okay, continuous carbon fiber, scaled it down from an industrial huge size platform printer down to a consumer printer.
And our buddy, highly recommend everybody to watch the live stream of Grant from 3D Musketeers. He did a factory tour. It will be linked down below. I watched it today. I had time to watch it, and I like what I see. And a little sneak peek for you. I didn't tell you because you were still trying to figure out some stuff, but I bought the printer.
Oh, you bought it?
Yeah.
Good job. Awesome. Wonderful.
I see the value in it. I see the value in it, so I got it. I got it.
So you backed the Kickstarter is what you're saying.
Well, the Kickstarter is going to be live in a month or so, but
November, 30 days.
Yeah, you can lock the price down, and I guess it's around $2,400, something like that, if you do a deposit of $50. So I deposited $50. And then you get it under $2,500. And I think for the stuff I want to do in the future, this machine is going to be another tool in the shop that really has a place to be here.
Yes, I'm very excited about that printer. I've got some experience with a Markforged 1 and 2 a few years back.
You have good news too, or not?
Well, tentative news. We're still in talks right now. I'm in talks with fibreseek to obtain a printer. Hopefully, it'll be a heated chamber style printer.
They confirmed that in the live stream that they are going to implement one, and it will reach 65 degrees Celsius.
And that's great. Because that opens up a lot of doors. But so right now, though, we're in talks. We're in talks with fibreseek. I'm very, the research and development that I do in my daytime job, this printer is really going to help in that vein. There's a lot of things I can't talk about, but I kind of relayed to them some of my plans for the printer, and we're waiting on the most opportune unit that they can come out with. So we'll know more on Tuesday. We'll know more in about 3 days about it. But if we get this printer, we are really going to hit it hard. We are going to put it through its paces. We're going to do some things with this printer. And if this happens, okay, we're tentatively speaking now. We're going to be co-sponsored by 3D Fuel. John Schneider John Snyder has confirmed to me that we were going to be using this printer, if this works the way we want it to, with some PCTG. Okay, we're
I
also
can
going to
see
be
that as a match made in heaven.
we're also going to be using this printer with PCTG carbon fiber 15,
Yeah.
which is his high-end carbon fiber PCTG. Now, if you think you watch some of those videos out there on how strong this material is, once the toe gets laid and the layers get bonded together, okay, and we could talk about some details if you like, Yves, on more the detail of the printer. Just think about carbon fiber strand with chopped carbon fiber.
Yeah.
How strong can that be? Okay, you're
Yeah.
talking about it in all four axes. Layer adhesion on this particular printer is off the charts, because what it does is it first lays down the base material, your ABS, your ASA, your PLA, your PETG, whatever you like. Okay, and then it comes back and melts that initial layer, keeps it nearly molten at its TIG state, and then lays down that strand of carbon fiber. And it does this continually all throughout. It's not the fastest printer in the world, but we're not talking about speed demons. We're not trying to break speed records. We are the tortoise racing the hare. We will get there, and we will be stronger in the end.
We could see it in the live stream that laying the fiber is a slow process, and that has all to do with making sure that the strand is staying in the location that you're trying to print it, and it is also encased with some kind of a polymer. They were calling it some kind of epoxy resin, type of deal. Mm-hmm. So the layer adhesion between the strand of fiber and nylon, PPS, PETG, you name it, it is compatible with basically any filament, and they are doing it in an industrial scale on the Ultim PEX peaks. And we are going to be able to do it up to a PPS, which is insane for the pricing.
I can't wait.
Because they are saying that the spools are only going to be under $50.
$50, okay? And one spool of that will it will do, I would say, around 8 medium-sized parts. Okay.
Yeah, it's around 500 meters, they said. I have no clue what's on a regular spool, so not sure what that's going to be in a volume. It also, the software that they are going to use is going to be proprietary because of the complexity. They can't include it in an Orca right now. He did say that they are looking into trying to figure out how they can implement that into an Orca. The software is going to be free anyway, but you will be able to choose only infill, how much infill, the layer walls. You are basically fully on your own and deciding how strong you want your part to be. Not only that, he also said that they are not going to stop with carbon fiber. They are also going to get glass-filled materials, and he even talked about copper wire, so that you can make conductive parts, which is going to open up a complete other wormhole for people. Like they gave the example in the stream, which was going to be drones. So you can just mount your wings on there, your motors, and just with a teeny tiny wire, you can hook up your motor to the printed part, and the printed part is your conductor, saving you a bunch of wiring, weight, and all of that. So I think the things we are going to see from that machine are absolutely bonkers. And in my opinion, the next revolutionary way forward, like Bamboo had with the X1, I think FibreSeeker is going to do the same thing with the continuous fiber.
Yes. I think what it does, not only that, it opens up so many doors for people in the community like you and I. Okay, people on our Discord, we're going to, I would love for them to have a FibreSeeker Discord server that could link to ours. That would be great, because we have some of the best and brightest in our Discord server right now.
People.
Oh, those people would just love to get at that printer. Okay. There's a couple of things we don't know about the printer yet. We don't know what types of infill. I was trying my best to get that out of the live stream last night, but we don't know exactly what types of infill. I would imagine gyroid I would imagine more of the flowing type of infills, the lightning
because they
infill.
are limited in the bend radius of the wire, but it is not
Mhm.
as bad as we would think. But I think straight pieces are going to be the strongest.
Yes.
Because right
Right.
now we are thinking about the gyroid and all those special features to increase the internal strength, although I'm of the opinion that your walls are going to be the most important and your infill is just because you need to have walls. But in fibreseeker's case, your infill is actually starting to become important because you can enforce it with a fiber, and then you don't have any reason to use any gyroids, I would say.
I've been working on some geometries that I've using with these Qidi printers on some RF absorption and deflection. So I've already been working on what kind of geometries can I have internally in a part or a sheet of parts, okay, that can benefit my research into RF absorption and reflection.
Yeah.
And that's something that nobody else in the industry is doing right now. If anybody's doing it in the defense sector, they're not telling us about it, okay?
Yeah.
Probably are. You can just about say, okay, the British, and the United States, maybe the Israelis are doing something like that. But this type of printer brings this type of technology down to the prosumer level. I don't think this is the average printer for. This is not the snap maker. Okay.
Yeah, that's the complete opposite.
Right. And it's in a whole different class than the index. Whereas the index can be a prosumer device and tool, this fibreseek printer, the fibreseeker 3, is in a wholly different class of part. Everybody's going to be using this thing for strength, rigidity and parts. It's just going to really, all print farmers and small people out there like myself we're just loving it because the industry is growing. You guys go ahead and have your Bamboo Lab H2Ds. Okay, that's fine. I'm still making money. I'm going to make money with my continuous strand carbon fiber parts. Okay, you go right ahead, Bamboo Lab. Have at it. Okay, I'm going to love my FibreSeek printer.
Yeah,
and
it's
everything.
Not a small box. It's not small.
No,
it's not 300 millimeter cubed. It's 300 on 300, and it's then kept at 240, which is still 240. Plenty.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's great because what behind me here, I'm looking at 305 by 305 by 280, and how much of that 280 am I really using, Yves? Yeah, when I get down to right here, I'm reducing that. So I'm still within that. I'm still within this range right here. Okay, I'm printing out some glass fiber parts right now. I want to use this. I want to use this printer to intermingle glass fiber and carbon fiber together. Okay, to do some really interesting things about wave frequency modulation and direction. This thing's got me excited. I'm extremely excited.
Absolutely, and I was thinking about it on waiting out, but the pricing is so good right now with the $50 deposit that I said, you know what, fuck it, I'm just getting one. And I already have one client, not an official client, it's one I have been talking about trying to work with him. It's a good friend of mine, Bart. If you are watching, I'm coming from you. I want your business. And he was already complaining about parts he was receiving from another company that they were breaking. It's basically 2 levers to pull out something, to keep it simple. Okay. And the 2 levers, after a few uses, would always break. Oh, there you have it. Your use case.
Guess what? Yeah, there's your first use case for the fibers.
Give me your business. I will do it gladly for the same price.
that printer will pay for itself in less than a month.
Man, if I have that boy right here in my shop, my printer is paid for.
Oh, I know. You just can't beat it. I mean, the tools at the community's disposal right now is incredible. The tool changers, the heated chamber printing. Okay, and I got to hand it to the Bamboo Lab engineers. Okay, they did the H2D well, but they should have released the H2S. Now you've got the FibreSeek. Now you've got the FibreSeek printer. And I wish that gentleman over there, Ryan, if you're listening, Ryan, I wish you all the best, buddy, because you've got a nice, clean shop. Your plant's beautiful, okay, and you look like you're doing things right. I saw all these printers lined up just a bunch of them doing long-term testing. What did we talk about? Long-term testing. Okay. Yeah. It's great. It's great. You need it. You got to have it. It builds trust in the community with your company. Okay. The community will love it. So I'm anxious. I'm hoping that we could come to an agreement here, and hoping that we could do something either as an unpaid review, okay, or a fully sponsored beta test, something that we can really sit down and put this thing through its paces. And if we get this printer, Team 7 is going to really put it through its paces. We will have videos. We will have live streams. I know you don't like to do live streams, Yves, okay, but we're going to do it. I'm going to have a live stream here at some point if we get this printer. So I'm hoping.
That's fine.
Christine and I have been talked to Kid Foo for a little while, and we're very excited, and we hope that we can come to some kind of agreement. And I'm really excited for this company.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like I said in the beginning. I think this is the next big revolution for people like us, the small engineers at home. We finally have a solution to make strong parts without having to go stupid exotic like PPS, which costs over $100 a kilo. There's just no more need to print with PPS, in my opinion, unless you want it for the heat.
It's hard. You know what this is? This is PET G glass fiber. Okay, and it's stiff as a board, and it didn't warp. Why? Because I actually printed it on a heated chamber printer. 375 grams of PET G glass fiber. Okay, imagine what I could do with this part. Okay, if I've got strands of carbon fiber, continuous strands of carbon fiber in this thing, I could increase the strength of this part maybe 6-7 times. Okay, and I could do it for the same amount of cost.
Yeah, absolutely. They are really truly the same innovation like we have seen with what was that company? The Eufy.
The Eufy make. I was going to talk about that. Thank you.
Yeah,
the Eufy make.
They have the same type of approach. They are so unique, and they are doing the same thing like Eufy make, which is providing something to us, the common folk, that is otherwise unobtainable unless you go high-end industrial. Which, let's be honest, you and I will never be able to afford.
I tell you what, I'm going to try to hook up the Eufy make folks with the folks that at my business, the marketing departments out there, and some of these smaller companies would definitely benefit from the Eufy make. And here recently, the Eufy make made a very good move of transparency during the Kickstarter. Okay, they had some issues with some tanks leaking, some ink tanks leaking.
I heard about it. Yeah.
I did a little deep dive into it, and they sent out drawings. Okay, they sent out data sheets to all of their content creators, to their testers. Okay, explaining to them, this is what we're doing. We're going to hold up production because we found this issue. And to me, by doing that, you build trust in the community. Nobody's left holding the bag, and nobody's if I've got $2,000 invested in something that I haven't seen yet, okay, it doesn't mean that I've got money to burn. It means I've got money to gamble with. Okay.
Oh yeah, the fibreseeker is definitely one of those gambles that is taking every little bit of spare change I have left from trying to be an independent print farmer. So
I want to say a little negative here about the fibreseek situation. Okay, and I'm trying to look at both sides of the coin. What I've been able to see, and the amount of exposure in social media as I go through the data points on Facebook, I go through the data points on Reddit, Discord, Instagram, all of these different social media outlets, YouTube. How many views is it getting? It's not getting a lot of views. Okay. Ryan's company this fibreseeker printer is not getting a lot of views because I think the marketing was a little on the weak side at first.
I have to say that without watching Grant's live stream, I was not really knowing what I was getting into. I have seen 2 or 3 videos about early releases from YouTubers I have never seen before in the 3D printing world. And those people didn't say shit, in my opinion. They confused me even more. So, yeah.
I will say I want to say a couple of good things though. Tripod's Garage had a really good video. You need to go see Tripod's Garage. Okay,
Well,
John's got a nice channel out there. He actually, Ryan and the vice president went out to Tripod's Garage location in Chicago, okay, and brought them spare parts for that printer. Okay, that was a wonderful, great gesture on their part to actually go out there personally, spend some time with John, okay, and do that. I'm, that to me speaks volumes. But the marketing situation, we've got, if we want this printer to be a success, we've got to hit more people. We've got to hit more social media outlets. The marketing aspect, the public relations aspect, they've got the public relations aspect. Now they've got to get the marketing. And I don't want it to make it sound like a huge negative, but you want to get the word out, hit everything, hit it day and night, okay? If you've got a North American liaison, that person's working on our time zone. You got a European liaison, that person's working on the time zone. Have those people working so you can have somebody working round the clock to promote your printer, and you will have the ultimately good problem that you will have more orders than parts and product in your plant that you can fill.
I did try to reach out to them, but that fell into deaf hands. So.
Well, they've been very busy. Okay.
I'm not. By the way, when I'm saying stuff like that companies don't answer to my quotes, I totally get it. It's not that I'm mad, and I even say that in my emails. I don't want your stuff for free. It's just so nice that for me as a reviewer to get stuff that has day one access is just such a boost for the YouTube channel in general. And it's more for that reason, just for the exposure, I guess. It's not because I feel entitled or anything like that.
No, now some numbers I'll throw out at you. It looks like they had between 30 and 35 printers. They had 10 content creators to give some first impression videos.
Yeah.
Okay. Out of that 35, and the rest went out to distributors and other outlets. But I don't think right now that they've had anybody to do any long-term and actual really hardline beta testing. Not to say they haven't done it in-house, because if you look at the video, they've got rows and rows of printers working and doing that long-term testing. Yep. Okay. So I can see where that would be. But they only had 35 printers, and a kid came back to me and said, "Wow, Steve, I'd love to send you a printer, but I just don't have any right now." Okay, we're going to send you a spare. So I think they found a spare. Hopefully it's a heated chamber printer. Hopefully we can either we can be a reviewer or we could be a paid sponsor video tester. Okay.
Just beta testing in general, I would call it.
Yes. Yeah. But I mean, one or the other, but definitely we'll have it worked out, and we'll know more on Tuesday, and then I'll make an announcement out on the Discord and on Facebook. Okay.
Yeah. I'm looking very much forward to the response of fibreseek.
Yep. I'm excited.
I'm rooting for you, and in the meantime, I'm put my money where my mouth is, and I will be one of the first, I hope, to receive it in the first quarter of 2026, because apparently that's when they are planning to ship the first units. So yeah.
Let's get Val to make a drive out when you get yours.
Let's get Val. Actually, so for the people at home that are wondering who the fuck is Val, Val is also one of the Team 7 members, also a very hard Qidi fanatic. Basically, all the Team 7 members are Qidi fanatics, including Val. He's a French
firmware programmer.
Yeah, firmware programmer, and also a very hard tinkerer. He's working on the Spicy Zero. I really like it. And I will be inviting him to talk about his Spicy Zero. And then we are probably also going to do a podcast, but we are going to sit next to each other. So I hope he's not going to be too shy, because he's very shy, unfortunately. While Val, if you're watching, my English is just as shit as yours. So don't bother. It's all fine.
Oh, Val does a great job. You should hear him
Yeah,
speak publicly. Oh, he's
I
a
love
great
him.
young man. I tell you,
Such a
yes,
great
he's
dude. I
awesome.
love him so
Yeah,
much.
and he can point out some stuff. Yeah, I mean, him and Stu was great on the firmware. I mean,
Yeah,
we've got everybody at Team 7 has a unique skill set that comes to bear here that we can help people with, that we can help companies with. If anybody within the sound of my voice that could see my face, if you have a printer that you want to test and you're a fledgling company, we will test your printer for free for you. If you like what we do, maybe later on after that printer's released, we can help you even more. Okay, we
yeah,
have we have over 100 years of combined experience at our disposal in engineering, marketing, firmware programming, computer hardware. We bring every bit of that to the table. Okay, so we know our content creators are amazing. Okay, so
thank you.
you know, if you really want some good service, good beta testing, come see us. Come see us.
Yeah, send an email. You can find my email on my YouTube page, noisyworks@gmail.com, or join us on Discord. The link is down below.
Yes.
Then
Right.
we have one more point we didn't talk about, and it's a bit, yeah, it's not really fitting with everything we have talked about, but it is an interesting question nonetheless. VFA. What is your
Ooh.
opinion about it? Because, and that is also something that Grant talked about in one of his live streams, and he was wondering where all of a sudden does the focus or the hyper focus on VFA coming from? And I think that is going to be the wrong question. I think the question is, why did everyone accept VFA for so long?
I think a lot of people from my experience in VFAs, the majority of the people in the community that know about VFAs have been dealing with it because they know that the technology has not been there yet to totally eliminate them. They're going to come from some source, and the more knowledgeable of the community members will accept them because they know that our technology is not developed enough. Okay, we need to get rid of them. But what
Now, maybe
to me,
to add a quick annotation to the VFA for the people that have no clue what we are talking about. If you have a print and you look at it from the side, you will see vertical lines over the complete object. And sometimes they are going to be very noticeable on the glossy filament, and it's just going to hurt your eyes when you see it. And depending on the printer, and if you want to look at a video, there will be a video right over there about the Prusa adventure I went on, and why I thought it was horrible for a printer of 1,300 euros that is actually, in my opinion, already out of date, and then producing the awful quality it did. Now, it was isolated, not really. A whole bunch of printers are suffering from VFA, only some are way worse, like my units. Unfortunately, I attract printers like that when I do review stuff like that. Most of the time, I attract the worst printers of the bunch, like the Qidi one. And Prusa did send over that printer, and I'm afraid that was my last cooperation with Prusa after all the videos I made. But nonetheless, kudos to Prusa actually, because without those videos, and those videos actually got some good watch time. I was really impressed to see the engagement, positive and negative about it. But I think we did give them a nice kick in the ass, because after my videos, they started really ramping up the updates and trying to figure out what the hell was going wrong. Not sure if I'm the only cause, but I think I had a good contribution in the speeding up of trying to fix the problem. So that is one that I'm going to pin on my shirt, and I'm going to take with me. If it's true or not, I don't care. I feel like I deserve it. But so, to continue, VFA, the vertical lines on the side, the actual cause is a little bit the same as if we look at the teeth or the tooth of the belt. It has a specific spacing between the tooth, and it is that reflection that you see on your printed part. And some printers don't have it, like the Prusa has it, But printers like a Qidi that uses a different type of belt that has a very narrow pitch have basically zero VFA. And I don't have the knowledge to figure out why it is happening, why some printers have it more than others. What I do know is that looking at the printers that are coming up, like a Snapmaker, is definitely having VFA issues. We could also see it
Wondermaker.
on the Wondermaker
Oh,
has VFA issues. The new Sovol, the Sovol Max one, the big ass printer, 500 millimeters cubed, horrible VFA, and we can see it on other printers, so it's not only excluded to Prusa. Is it an issue? Is the big question. So we have two types of people in that case. You have the people like me. I hate it. I can't see it. If I can see it in a dull finish, it is a problem to me.
Okay, what customer, Yves, is going to pay attention to that? Of all the customers that you deal with, I'm adding a counterpoint to the VFA argument.
Absolutely,
okay?
absolutely. I think
Well,
less than 5%.
Less than 5%. But you, as a craftsman, as a tinkerer, as a 3D printer maker, you feel like that here's a tool that I can get better results from. Okay, I want to make it better.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the struggle that we all have. Sometimes the struggle is real, and then sometimes it's imaginary. Okay, I'm not saying the VFA situation with you is imaginary, but I can, to me, I could care less unless I'm trying to win a contest. Okay, which I don't enter in a lot of contests. I really don't care. I think I know about what's going on there with the printer and the VFAs. Okay, I've got theories. And working with CNC equipment all my life, and I can tell the motion control systems, okay, suffer from resonance. Okay, and the VFAs are a result of how the motion control system is configured. Okay, you'll have the reason you have fewer VFAs on the Qidis is because of one of the 1.5 belt, but also because that fucking tool head is heavy as a motherfucker.
Yeah.
Excuse my language. My language.
Now,
that tool
the
head.
core one doesn't have a light tool head. The next extruder on there is not light.
Well, but you still have the two pitch belt.
Yeah.
That counters a lot of that. Okay, but one of the reasons why I like that is because of that heavy tool head. Okay, that tool head absorbs a lot of that resonance. It will take in a lot of that resonance.
Yeah.
The glass filled nylon in that tool head will absorb a lot of that resonance. All that glass fiber is going to absorb that resonance in there. Okay, there's other reasons why I don't like it. Okay, but I'm just telling you, this is my theory on what happens with it.
Mm-hmm.
The pulleys, okay, could be a lot better. Okay, that could help, reduce. And also, and a lot of people haven't talked about this, but it's the overall length of the belt, the overall travel length of that belt.
Yeah.
Once you get the length of that belt so long, you can only get it so tight because it's the spring ratio of the belt, the tension of the belt, and the material that the belt's made out of. Okay, I'd love to put a Kevlar 1.5 pitch belt on that bad boy. I don't have time to mod it, but I would love to do that because I could tighten that thing down and have some solid pulleys, and idlers. And I guarantee you, what's VFAs? I mean, I have a smooth part, and I'm not even using glass fiber. But I can see your point. That it bugs me. Oh, it detracts from the look of the part. I can see that, and I can see the craftsman in you that feels that way. But to me, I'm in the camp that I don't make parts for prettiness. I make parts for strength and reliability.
Yeah, and that is also probably the reason why Prusa isn't having that much of an urge to fix it, because they probably are in the same mindset as what you are trying to explain.
Yeah, right. And I think a lot of you can band-aid a problem so much, okay? Yeah. And the only way you're going to fix it is to redesign the printer and come out with the Core 2. that eliminates total VFAs by having a heavier tool head, by having a 1.5 millimeter pitch belt, by having solid pulleys and idlers, okay, to absorb all that resonance.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, everybody wants to go so fast, and it's just, that's another thing we should have talked about, is the marketing bullshit that, 600 millimeters a second.
Yeah.
We're never going to get 600 millimeters a second.
Well, they are talking about theoretical travel speeds, and before it starts skipping. So, and to try and convince people that it's actual possible, this unit right over here now has the capability. It is printing PCTG, which has been set to 55 millimeters cubed with a 0.6 nozzle and a 0.25 millimeter height. So it is oozing filament at this point, and I still have to hit 350 millimeters a second to get that type of volume. So if I drop it down to a 0.2 layer height, I will be reaching 500 millimeters a second, and I have done it. So this printer, I'm for sure, this is capable of hitting that 500 millimeters a second. But for anybody awesome. At home that is now listening to me and thinks, well, I am going to put in a CHT nozzle in my hot end and I'm going to try the same thing, you're going to be shit out of luck because you will need flow for that. And that is the biggest gotcha, and all these printers showing that shiny number 500 millimeters a second, you will have zero flow to be able to do that unless you are really liking the severe under extrusion that the thing is going to try and push out. So unless you have a Goliath or like Luke has the
Orange Storm Giga.
No. Luke has that beefy hot end with the shroud around it. I forgot the name.
Oh, the Pika, the Tube.
The Pika. The Tube.
The Tube.
Yeah, the Chunker.
Yeah.
I like the name Chunker more, but it is basically another version of a Goliath, his take on that. Yep. Those are going to be the only two hot ends that are going to be capable of getting anywhere near that 500 millimeters a second. So if you are having any type of consumer product, forget about it.
I'm waiting for Jacob's Construct 2 to come out. I'm thinking about dropping the 7 to 8 grand to 10 grand for that puppy. I'm really thinking about it. Jacob, it's on my mind. You should.
Yeah. I mean, so next year the Smurf in England, he's probably going to be there, and I might do the necessary to be able to visit Smurf and have a little chat with Jacob.
Oh, that would be great. I'd love to meet Jacob. Jacob's wise beyond his years.
I love that guy so much. If I see him on the podcast, he's such an asset to Grand Stream. It is amazing.
Oh, he sure is. I'm going to ask you a quick question before we head on to our next topic.
Yeah.
What's the straightaway on that PCTG? How long is the straightaway? How many millimeters are we looking at? 300 on the side to get that 400 millimeters straightaway, and you've got you're attaining 300 millimeters a second with with more. What's fastest? What's the fastest?
500.
500 millimeters a second over a 400 millimeter pass.
Yeah, well, you can do it a square way, but if you put it diagonal, then you have more like 450, and then you will definitely be able to hit it. But I have set my acceleration to 15k, I guess. And if I have to believe the slicer and the thing that comes out fluids, or I think it's mainsail on this one, it says to me it is pushing 50 millimeters cubed at 500 millimeters a second. So it should be doing that.
it's shitting on it's pooping on the fly, man. It's pooping on the fly.
Insane.
It's great.
These things right over here. This is a customer job. I am printing 5 of these on the bed, and these are done in 3 hours. This is ABS, by the way.
ABS in 3 hours? Oh, man. See, whenever you started building the rat rig, I was like, oh, man, I'm jealous. I got to have a rat rig. I got to build a rat rig.
This video is probably going to be for after this boy has been delivered. It's going to be for around Halloween. We have some cool stuff. You mentioned a few things that I'm definitely going to implement it without spoiling it. But let's get into our next topic, which is going to be our boring lives. I totally stole that from another YouTuber. They are called Hardware Unboxed, and they review GPUs and CPUs. And they also have a
Okay. Okay.
podcast that they do. I think it's monthly, and they also have a section that they just talk about their private life in the manner that they want. And this means no business like 3D printing. It's all personal. And maybe I
Yeah.
can give an example. Like, for instance, this week, for the people that don't know me and are watching me the first time, I have been struggling with burnout for the last year. I think I'm
Yes, you
still
have. Yep.
recovering. I just started my full-time job again, so I'm working 5 days doing this whole thing on top of it. So it's been really hard, and I have been talking with a mental health coach about all this stuff,
Okay.
and I was starting to feel the complete the slop of getting back into the
Abandonment.
grinder and doing all of this, because this motherfucker has been such a pain in the ass. The law of Murphy has been on full effect in this one.
Yep.
And
Yep.
just, yeah, I was starting to feel all bad again. And I made an appointment with her, and I said, look, this is happening again. We figured out what the problem is, and the problem was that I didn't have a break in like weeks or months,
Yeah.
actually.
Yep. Yep.
The summertime has been brutal. Did a lot of good things for the channel, but for me personally, it was very hard. And she said, you need to get the fuck out. Literal words, you need to get the fuck out. So
Mm-hmm.
we went to a zoo in Holland, the Netherlands,
Mm-hmm.
like they call it. Beeksebergen, for the people that know me. They have a very sweet hotel over there, Van der Valk it's called. It's a bit more on the luxury
Wonderful.
level. Yeah, they
Yep.
have a
Yep.
swimming pool, sauna, all the things you want. And oh my god, I feel like I'm reborn just from having something stupid like looking at a few monkeys and having some good having some good food and having a few glasses of wine. Oh my
You got
god.
to you got
If
to
you are
see the
mentally
monkeys.
struggling, if you're
You got to
mentally
see the monkeys
struggling,
throw. Yeah, you got to see the monkeys throw shit instead of the printers,
well,
right?
it's not a big ass zoo. It's
Yeah.
still a
Yeah.
very nice zoo, and actually, you can take your car and you can drive through the zoo. They have a section that live animals are walking through. It's most of the time giraffes, those very nice Highland cows you can see in Scotland and all of that, and even a few tigers. And you can just drive through them, following a path. And
Oh.
we had a camel that was just at the choke point. So there's a choke point, and they have some kind of rebars on the floor, so the deer or the animals don't cross over. And one of those camels was just standing there waiting for a car to appear, and then it just stood in front of your car. So we were standing there, a big ass animal in front of the car, and we had to wait because there was one or two leaves on the roof, and it wanted to eat the leaves of our roof. And then it ran away. We could pass the camel, and then for the next
Ah,
car, the next car, same thing, stood in front of it, got some of the leaves of it, and it was so
that's
amazing to
awesome.
see.
That's
Yeah,
great.
so
That's
we
awesome.
had an absolutely great time over there, and it was so great to be out of house.
I guess you sent some photos, I think, to the group. That was very interesting. I
I'm
love
not
all the
sure.
photos from this season.
I'm not
Well,
sure
I love
that,
all the
but
photos. I think, did you go to with the that one trip you took with the cottage that you took the pictures of the cottage?
oh yeah, that was our vacation holiday of the summer. It's a company called Santa Parks. It's basically a
Hmm.
cottage rental kind of a deal. So it's a big
Yep.
ass place that is only for rental, home rental.
Yep.
It is all
Yep.
fairly small scale, and you also have the nature going on. And most of the time, you have a covered pool, also with some nice to haves. And that was our
Hmm.
last time, but it has been a few months, and it has been full on work between that point
Hmm.
and our
Right.
trip to the zoo. Yeah, and besides of that, it's basically just working. So, what did you do the last few weeks?
Oh wow, what did I do? I have been involved somewhat in my grandchildren's sports. My grandson plays middle school football, American football, and my granddaughter, she plays soccer. She's on a soccer team. Their teams are both undefeated. Okay, only the soccer teams suffered a tie. That's the first time that's ever happened in our family when we've had two teams, okay, actually be undefeated during the regular season. But unfortunately, my grandson, who's playing a little undersized, not for the right position, who the coach is going playing out of position, broke his collarbone, compound fracture. Okay,
Yeah, he's
and
out.
we were there. He was out for the 6 to 8 weeks, and now he doesn't get to play in the playoffs, so he can be there for his teammates. But I took my granddaughter to her soccer game this morning. They won their soccer match, so they're still undefeated, and they've got one more game in the regular season. So I've always been taking part in my children's sports endeavors, any kind of technical endeavors that they've had. Uh, we're a sports family here.
Yeah.
We're football and baseball, soccer.
Isn't
We
that
do
true
it.
for most Americans?
It is, but there's a lot of Americans. The families will focus on one sport, but
Oh yeah.
we can't do that. We got to focus on every one of them. And
Yeah.
we got to play them all. Okay.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
and, and through that, you can really teach the young people the proper way to lead your life. Okay. You can do that through sports. And I've been a football, baseball coach. I'm 60 years old now. I've been a football, baseball coach, retired in 2015, started in 1984 when I started coaching, right out of high school.
Well, I wasn't even
Uh,
born by then.
Well, aside from engineering, my wife and I, we love to spend time at home because we work a lot. We get up at 4:30 every morning, and sometimes I don't get to bed. And you know me, there's
Yeah.
sometimes I've been up. We're talking about things and trying to plan things. I get about 5 to 6 hours of sleep a night. If I get any more than that, then I'm out for the day. But a lot of our life revolves around what we do, you know. Uh, and so far, I haven't felt the burnout that you're feeling right now, Eve. But I can relate to you. At one point, I felt burnout. Okay, and I didn't reach out to a health counselor.
Yeah.
I kept it inside of me, and it really hurt my previous marriage a
To
lot.
be fair, I didn't reach out to a healthcare person before it was too late. I just completely collapsed in August last year, so it's a little bit
Okay.
more than a year ago. The content on YouTube, I luckily had some canned stuff that I could push out, but I had to quit for at least 2 months of YouTube because I was just unable to do any kind of real work. I would be sitting here and trying to say something and stutter
Mhm.
around, and I noticed like today I barely stutter. It is amazing to be able to do that, but back then I started filming the first week I was home, so I have been home for a few months to just
Okay.
because
Okay.
you can't work. It is impossible. I had something like, yeah, I'm bored. Let's make a YouTube video. And after an hour, I just turned off the camera and I said, fuck this shit. It ain't gonna happen. And I watched that video. I looked so sad and I was such a mumbling mess. And wow, it is
Well,
really
well,
hard
well,
to see yourself so broken.
well, well, speak of mumbling messes, okay. I want to say something about my friend Grant. Okay, poor Grant flew 19 hours. Him and Jacob, his wife, okay, and his crew, all the way out to China, all the way out to Shanghai. 19 hours, didn't get much rest. Okay, and then still had to put on a live stream.
Yeah.
Okay,
And we
that.
are not doing this live, so this is super
Oh no.
casual. This is
Oh
chill. This
yes.
is
Yeah. Yeah.
so
Yeah.
great. But yeah, having to
So
travel all that distance
I,
and then trying to perform is horrible.
see. I want to say to everybody that follows that fiber seeker link. Okay, please give Grant a little, give
Give
him
him
some
some
grace.
love.
Okay, yeah, give him some love because he really does a lot for the community. Okay, and that's
Yeah,
another thing I
absolutely.
want to touch on. It's another thing I want to touch on in my life. um, since I've been into 3D printing and gotten into this community, I've felt like I've been so welcomed. Okay, that people welcomed me with open arms. Here I was, an old cantankerous engineer, okay, who was set in his ways, who was pissed off because his cheaters weren't working properly.
Yeah.
I was on Reddit. I was, and some guy named Stu, said, "Hey, why don't you come over to the Discord?" Okay, and for my personal life, this is what my personal life is. Okay, right now, my wife and I, we work a lot. We spend time together on the weekends and everything. But when we're doing our own thing, this is what I'm doing. I'm working for the community. I'm doing things to help people because everybody was so welcoming to me. And I said it once, I've said it 1,000 times. I live in a perpetual state of gratitude to the
Yeah.
community. This is what pisses me off so much about these companies that steal from the community all of these great ideas, okay, and lock them away to use these great ideas. It's a slap in those people's faces.
Yeah,
Okay,
absolutely.
it's wrong. There's a lot of wrong things in the world, and there's a lot of worse things in the world than what's going on right now in this 3D printing community.
Yeah.
You may be experiencing something in your life that's a hell of a lot worse than what we're talking about. And
Yeah.
God help you. Our prayers and kind thoughts go out to you because
And go find help. Do it. There's no more
yes,
shame in mental health, in my opinion.
by all means do it. I didn't do it fast enough,
Yeah.
and
Me
that's
too.
it's part of my life that I regret. But now that I'm through that, now that I'm over that, I've been able to dig myself into a situation that I really enjoy, that I'm really passionate about, and I feel like a kid again.
Yeah.
I'm 60 years old, feel like a kid, and I can tinker. Okay, I can pull out parts and make parts and be productive. Whereas before, I was Michael Douglas in that movie Falling Down. That was me. That was me. Okay. And watch that movie. That guy was me at one point. I
Yeah.
was ready to just cause an avalanche on the whole town. Okay.
Yeah.
But so seriously, this is what we do in our personal lives. Um, we try to make everything that we do fulfilling. We try to fill our time with our families. We take part in the lives of our friends, and the fellowship that we share is so much more important than the money that we make. It's so much more important.
Yeah.
The money's
Absolutely.
good, okay? It keeps you going. It pays the bills, okay? But nothing pays the bill like a good fellowship, like a team seven, you
Yeah.
know. And,
Absolutely. I
and that
can't agree
and
more that Team 7 has meant a lot for me, not only on a professional level, but also personal. Just having a space to talk about things that also can be quite personal and not only about 3D printing.
mm, yeah.
Because believe it or not, my friends right here in Belgium, while I love my friends, they don't always know what I'm going through. We can
Mhm.
talk about it on a surface level, but it's people like you that truly know what we are going through. If you're not in the
Mhm.
hobby, you don't know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I nearly pulled my hair out last year when I was messing with the cheaties until I calmed down. Okay, and
Yeah.
once I calmed down and realized that this is what you're going to get, you make the most out of it, and
Yeah.
then that's when things started. That's when things flipped around. Okay, and that's when I started getting to know you guys, Stu and you, and you were the first guys I looked at on the cheaty
Yeah, I
videos.
remember you being on one of my live streams with the Mega Smoother promising me a bottle of your Kentucky bourbon that I never got.
And I couldn't get it past customs.
Yeah,
I
I
could not
know.
get it past customs. I tried, man. I tried. I had a whole
And
case of this
it's
shit.
dirt cheap to get
I
it
had
myself, so I got it myself.
$275 case of
Yeah,
Woodford Reserve, dude.
Right over here, there is a heater, and I was calling it the hillbilly way of testing out airflow. And I remember you saying that you are the one and only hillbilly on the planet. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, hillbilly engineer. That's what they called me on Reddit.
Well, I think we can start to conclude this podcast. I hope people enjoyed it as much as we did talking about it. I really enjoyed it. I'm definitely going to have you on more if we have stuff to talk about, because we are not going to do this weekly or monthly. We are going to do this when I feel like we have enough material to go through. Believe it or not, we went through all of this and I thought we would only cover half of it. And I think we are we past 2 hours? Yeah. I guess so.
yeah. Even the print here that I've got.
It's finished.
2 hours. 2 hours and 19 minutes, and I started it when we started the podcast.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nice.
it's a little enclosure for a lock device. Okay. Yeah. It's PETG carbon fiber. I'm sorry, glass fiber. Yeah. Because we need it not conductive. So it's a little hot.
A little hot. The plan is also to try and get a few other members of the Team 7 on the podcast, but some of them are pretty shy, so we will see who is feeling it to get on it. Nonetheless, if not, then Steve, you are a great guest on the podcast. Thank you. So I think I've
had a blast. I've had a blast.
Awesome. All right. For the people at home, thank you so much for watching. Remember, all the links are down below. Keep open source alive, and I see you in the next one.